from Eritrea raped a vulnerable elderly man in the grounds of a church. A warning now that some viewers and listeners will find the details of what I'm about to tell you incredibly distressing. But Bruke Desalane dragged a male pensioner onto the grass verge of a church in Harrow in North London and subjected him to a 20-minute sexual attack. He raped him. His attack was caught on CCTV and a witness saw it from a window of her property and called police. The attack happened right next to a busy road, and Desalane kept pausing when a double-decker bus or pedestrians would go past. When police arrived, the man was still lying on the ground and his attacker was standing next to the church. This Eritrean monster arrived illegally in the UK several years ago. He was granted asylum and then remarkably given indefinite leave to remain in 2022. He initially tried to tell police that he was just helping an inebriated man, but when he was actually shown CCTV of the attack, he apparently refused to answer any more questions. According to the Daily Telegraph, even when he was shown footage of the attack in court, he remained totally emotionless, just sat there sipping a glass of water. Look, we have to face facts. It's not just women and girls who need to be protected from some of these illegal immigrants. Apparently, it's elderly men as well. And what is Andy Burnham's plan?
We have to say, we cannot have a situation where it's only the poorest communities in the country that receive, all of the dispersal of refugees and asylum seekers. I do believe all parts of the country need to work to play their part. It's a challenging issue. We're working at it. We understand people's concerns.
So he just wants to spread this problem out right across the UK into little villages and middle-class areas. They need to play their part, do they? They need to share the burden. Or share the burden of what? Share the burden of vulnerable male pensioners being raped outside churches. I mean, people on the left were pretty dismissive of messages like this from the Piddington kids.
Dear Andy Burnham, I love our village. It's so important to me. Andy, I love Piddington.
I love Piddington because I like walking my dog through the village. Mr. Burnham, I love Piddington because I like cycling through the village to see my friends.
But I ask you this. If an Eritrean man who has been given everything by this country is capable of raping a man in his 60s in public by a church, then what could some of these completely random illegal immigrants be capable of doing in a remote little village near a primary school? If I was Andy Burnham, I would not be able to sleep at night worrying about this. I think he's probably just fast asleep, actually, dreaming of buses. Well, I know people in Number 10 do watch this show, so I'm going to play you a clip now of a young mother talking about the impending disaster of more than 1,000 illegal immigrants being dropped into her little area. Listen to what she has to say.
My daughter spends a lot of time in Ambrose with my parents, and it makes me emotional because things are going to change, and people don't understand how. I grew up in that village, and I want my daughter to be able to grow up like I did, and she won't be able to, and that's the simple fact. People can bury their heads in the sand, and they can think that all of these people that are coming over are wonderful people, and I'm sure that some of them just want a better life, and for them, I commend them for making the trip. And as a woman, no man in government will ever understand what it feels like to walk down the street and be scared and think, I'm not going to get home tonight. She's not going to be able to go back to cooking with my dad anymore and make jam because it's probably not going to be safe. What a sad, sad situation we're in.
Well, incredible speech from that brave lady there. But just look at this picture on your screens right now. So that is the number of locals in Piddington on the left. This is AI, obviously, in case you needed that spelled out for you. But that's 350 Piddington residents. And then what you'll see there, a larger group of people. That's the number of illegal immigrants that this Labour government wants to move in. 1,250. When you see it like that, you just realise how absolutely insane this is, don't you? If women, children, now even elderly male pensioners are being raped and abused by illegal immigrants in so-called working-class areas, then why would anyone think it isn't going to happen in middle-class rural villages too. I'll just say it again. I don't know how Andy Burnham sleeps at night. Let's get thoughts from our panel this evening. We have got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, Reform's Sergey Berry, and GB News contributor Kai Wilshaw. Yeah, Carol, look, I'll start with you. I mean, look, the first things first, that case of the Eritrean monster there is, I mean, in a competitive field, is one of the absolute worst illegal migrant stories I've heard.
And me too, and yet there'll still be people out there saying diversity is our strength, you know? It's one of the most disgusting, upsetting, vile things I've ever heard. The gentleman was very elderly. We believe he might have been intoxicated, but that's by the by. That made him all the more vulnerable, made him easier prey. And this guy who came here illegally, you know, this guy is now going to go to prison. What I find astonishing, it took the jury 2 hours to convict him. Anyway, he's not going to be sentenced or seen to till the autumn. Why? And then he's going to go to jail. Probably looked after better in jail than he ever looks after himself outside. And we're going to have to take care of him for the next 7 to 10 years and pay for all his bills. Why? The guy shouldn't be allowed. One, he shouldn't be allowed to stay. 2, he should be deported. But we know that a lot of these illegal migrants are coming to this country. We know that there are some cultures where they are more prone to this. If this guy was in his homeland in Eritrea, he'd probably be killed. You know, homosexuality, man-to-man sex in Eritrea is banned completely. It's a big criminal offence there. You go to jail for a long time. Male rape, I can't begin to imagine. So, God knows what. But, you know, it's not just the politicians that are to blame for this. It's the judges, it's the lawyers, it's the human rights, I don't know what to call them, the human rights people who are campaigning to let people like this stay because diversity is a strength. No, it isn't. These people come from cultures where people's lives are cheap, where women mean nothing, and now, you know, elderly people mean nothing. What will happen to him? Nothing. He will go to jail and have a nice life.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing. I mean, look, rightly so, a lot of the conversation has been about, you know, women and girls. Yeah, completely right. But it's not just that. It's not, you know, no one's safe, are they? I mean, this is a bloke sitting on a bench, you know, an elderly man, and he's deemed to be fair game by one of these people.
So we're not in our communities, are we? But I think the real disgrace about this case is because of Article 3 in the ECHR, even when this vile rapist has served probably half his sentence and he's let out, we won't be able to deport him. And until we have a government that is serious about leaving the ECHR, actually, as Kemi Badenoch has said the Conservatives will do, not sure they accept that, because when I proposed it, we were in the Cabinet together, she opposed what I said, but clearly Nigel Farage will deliver. Until we have a government that is serious about leaving the ECHR, our courts taking back control of our own laws, enabling us to deport people like this, like Nigel Farage suggested last week, to foreign prisons. Until we have a government that's serious about that, we cannot keep our citizens safe. And if you look at the new front in this illegal invasion, is that Andy Burnham has decided to now drive this really worrying situation we find ourselves in and add petrol to the fire by making it a class war and deciding, well, actually, we'll just put all these people who people have concerns about, don't want in the country. Yeah. We're just going to put them in the middle class areas because we just want to look after Labour voters. This is absolutely what we don't need.
Like the Reform Party who said, oh, we'll put them in green voting areas, right? That's exactly what people said a few months ago.
Is that not democracy?
Because I think the Green
Party on the one hand, something that you guys like.
Well, the Green Party says they want more people to come. If you want more people to come, let them live in your area. The truth is, this is going to be more expensive because putting them in places like Oxfordshire is more expensive to house them than places like Blackpool. Don't know what the poor people of Blackpool have done to deserve this. We've got to stop this invasion. Yeah. But actually, this is Andy Burnham trying to take this problem created by governments and make it into a class war.
I want to put this here. We'll talk when I come back to you all about the wider problem about putting them in these places. But you know, it struck me, Kai, as I was reading and then writing up about that story about that Eritrean guy today. Yeah. About thinking, you know, we hear a lot, don't we, from the usual suspects like Fraser Nelson. Well, crime is down, actually. Yeah, I mean, I do think the case of Eritrean men raping elderly pensioners in church grounds is, it turns out, up. And that is a bad thing. And this is it. Certain types of crimes like this are alien to the UK.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah. And now we've got them.
Yeah, Patrick, look, I I'm not of that tradition of the left that would say that. I don't think anybody in the Labour government either, actually, is the type that says, oh, long term, over the many, many years, crime is down, so we can forget about it. Actually, if you look at the case of this man individually, let's talk about that first. This wouldn't happen if he entered the UK today. Because of the laws, the changes in the law, as the biggest changes to asylum laws in this country in decades that were brought about by Shabana Mahmood. So the temporary status, the temporary refugee status, he would not have. He would not have had access to indefinite leave to remain.
He wouldn't have been
for years and years and years. But actually, foreign offenders still 10,000. They have in March.
Government's just talking
in March.
About.
No. They were announced in November 2025. They came into force in March.
Accepting refugees from Eritrea now. So how would it be different if the guy arrived this week? He'd be able to stay in the UK because the government is currently accepting asylum applications from Eritrea.
But we're getting through those asylum applications much faster. We're getting the backlog down, and 10,000 foreign offenders have been deported since the election, just 31% up from the 21 months before that. But can I just one more thing? We talk about governments are to blame, politicians are to blame. I think it's important to realise who exactly is to blame. Suella Braverman was Home Secretary in 2022, not once, but twice. And who became Immigration Minister, Carol? It was one Bobby Jenrick.
Let's talk about now. This government has purposely tried to suppress information about migrant crime. We know they have. Every time there's a migrant rape or a migrant sexual assault, the police will not say, they will not give us the information they want. That is, oh please, come on.
That is not true. The first headlines about this story, they all said his nationality. That is de rigueur, that happens with every story these days.
The reason they hide it, and they say, is that it's to suppress civil unrest. We don't want to cause civil unrest. We've seen it happen so many times. So they're complicit in this. And then when you have Andy Burnham saying he's going to share the burden, what he means is we're going to share the rapes and we're going to share the crime. Instead of solving it, let's share the rape.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that now, because we played you a clip just before then of very impressive woman, the way she stood up in that kind of town centre.
Yes.
I mean, it's part of a much longer clip, and I would urge you to go and watch that. You'll be able to find it online. She spoke very passionately about her local area. She's one of several women, actually, that stood up that day and did that. And I actually honestly felt a bit on the brink of tears, because I was thinking, she's got a young daughter there. One of the joys that they have is like a family tradition, every summer she'll go blackberry pecking with her grandparents, the kind of the core childhood memories. I have similar-ish memories with my grandparents, That's going to stop now because they're going to bust these people in. And how on earth can Andy Burnham inflict that on people in those areas? And sleep at night. I don't understand how he was just waiting for the first story about something awful happening to someone.
That lady is just one of many who will never have an easy night's sleep again as long as her kids are kids. Well, not even just when they're kids, when they grow up, because they're attacking women as well. She's never going to be able to let her kid play in the street again with 1,500 people running around the area. She's never going to have an easy... All those things you just talked about, all those childhood memories will never happen again, because you're going to have to be on constant guard. That is not fair. And Burnham is talking about this like it's a problem we have to accept now. Share the burden. No, don't share the burden. Stop it, you moron. Just stop it all together and get rid of them. We don't want them. We don't want them in any area. Working class, middle class, or whatever. Get rid of them. Make it so. Change the law so we can deport them.
He has not... I don't accept this idea that he says we should just accept it. That is one of the many things he said. He said that he agrees with Nigel... One of the things he said, for instance, that on scaling up detention centres and on military barracks use, he said, I agree with Nigel Farage on this. He spoke well back in the campaign, when perhaps you might argue politically he didn't need to, about ending HMO
Why is he dumping this 1,500 people in a tiny little area?
Because, look, as you begin to scale up detention centres, as they are doing, as you begin to end the use of asylum hotels, in the meantime, while they get that backlog down, they will need to go somewhere, won't they? And it makes sense that it's in a fair way and not concentrated just in the poorest areas of society.
With no cops, no infrastructure, no places on the NHS. Look, I just feel really passionately about this, and I have a really foreboding feeling about the fact that we're going to be sat on this sofa talking about something appalling happening in this village. And as having said, we told you so, whatever it may be, whatever we would try and say about it, isn't going to bring back the lives of the people in that village. Those people are being outnumbered. What happens, it's not even just women and girls. What happened if the 1,500 men, and they will mostly be men, decided to riot? What would they do? There's 300 people.
Can we show
they
the
cannot
picture
be
whilst
kept
Jake's
safe.
talking? Can we show that picture quickly? Sorry, before I go to the Home Office statement. Just that one that shows the number of villagers versus the number of these people that they're bringing in. But we'll bring it up in a second now. But to your point, Jake, I mean, it's the potential consequences of it.
And if something goes wrong, we have to be really frank and say, look, Prime Minister Andy Burnham, you were told you have blood on your hands, you have the lost childhood potentially of a young girl who might have been raped in your hand. This is not politics. This is deeply, deeply irresponsible. You cannot keep those British people safe. You should not be doing this. This is completely wrong.
All right, well, there you go. I mean, it's pretty stark when you see it laid out like that, isn't it, really? And a Home Office spokesperson has said, our thoughts are with the victim of this deeply disturbing crime. This is about the Eritrean man who raped a vulnerable pensioner. Our thoughts are with the victim of this deeply disturbing crime and all those who have been affected by it. We commend their bravery in coming forward and reporting this individual. The perpetrator has now rightly been convicted. After sentencing, we will do everything in our power to remove him, and he will be denied all refugee protections. Well, on that note, coming up,
the British taxpayer is acting as the welfare state for the world. That's unfair. We all know it.
Reform today vowed to cut all benefits for foreigners, and they didn't stop there. They've also promised to force those who are out of work for more than a year and who can do so to do community work. So could this be the end of the great British benefits rip-off? But before that, the Prime Minister is apparently poised to approve new North Sea gas fields. But could he inadvertently be about to breathe new life back into groups like Just Stop Oil? We'll talk about that when we come back.